Hi there, coffee breakers, and happy St. Valentine's Day. Welcome back to what I like to call the best virtual coffee shop in America. Today's episode is going to take us in a different direction, a more personal direction. Recently, I came across a manuscript that a brother seminarian gave me back in 1983 just before he left the seminary. I didn't realize until that moment that 42 years have passed since he and I said goodbye. So, in today's broadcast, I'm sharing something deeply meaningful. A letter I wrote to my brother Alex, that's his name, a letter that will never be mailed. And the way that I imagine Alex might have responded after reading this letter. But here's a quick disclaimer. I used Microsoft Copilot to help shape Alex's imagined response, but the heart behind it is entirely my own. Okay? So, with that, grab your cup of coffee or whatever beverage you're drinking today, and let's coffee break. Dear Brother Alex, it is hard to believe that 42 years have passed since the day we said goodbye. 3 days later, you were gone. I mean, truly gone. Now, I'm not going to revisit the details of that moment. There is no need for me to do that. Yet, I often wonder how different our lives might look today had things unfolded differently. It has been several years since I have reflected on you to the extent that I would compose a letter right here at my desk, one which I do not intend to send, obviously, and that is okay. You and I became brothers in the seminary, and I have never thought of you as anything less. I often imagine what it will be like when my own time comes, as it did for you, for my big brother and my parents. That moment when we take our final breath, when we close our eyes and find ourselves standing before the Almighty in judgment. Do I feel reverence for the Lord? Absolutely. Perhaps that is what people mean when they speak of fear of the Lord. But then, you know me, dumb as a rock and twice on Sunday, as I used to joke. I'm still here in Oklahoma, Alex, 24 years as of this coming November. A considerable amount has transpired during that period. I have met many wonderful people and have had great experiences. You know me, always eager to know, love, and hug someone new. In truth, my heart always longed to return to New Jersey and possibly the seminary back in the day, though perhaps not to the vocation as fathers, and especially not after my conversation with Father Edgar 42 years ago. Oklahoma was the last place I expected to live, yet here I am, 24 years and counting. I am grateful that the Lord called me back to Himself in 2017 after a 21-year absence from the church. Can you imagine? Me once in the seminary, and then I decide to cop attitude and spend 21 years away from practicing my faith. What was I thinking? Anyways, I'm not certain I am living this life or this faith that you and I shared together when we were in the seminary perfectly, but I am trying. Not on my own, but with Christ, because He knows, and you know, and I know that I can do nothing without Him. I have a wonderful confessor and spiritual director. He is young enough to be my son, yet priestly enough to guide me with wisdom and compassion, and I just think the world of him. In fact, I think the word of all the priests we have here in this diocese, and our bishop, great bishop. Now, a significant portion of my time is dedicated to looking after three extraordinary people who have enriched and at times challenged and complicated my life, something for which I remain deeply grateful, truly. Caregiving is a challenge, Alex. Caregiving alone is even more so. But how can I not love those entrusted to me? Truly, when I look at those I care for, or even the average Sally or Joe on Main Street, USA, and I choose to see Christ rather than what my eyes naturally see in them, everything changes. My whole perspective shifts. I find myself thinking, I am not caring for this person, Sally or Joe Main Street. I am caring for Christ Himself. You know, that thought really humbles me and it warms my heart. And it makes all that you go through worth the effort, worth the love. It does. I'm still chasing sainthood, though it seems to have longer and faster legs than I do. It always seems like it's 4 steps ahead of me, but I keep trying. You know, there's so much I wish I could share with you, brother, far more than one letter can hold. I can almost hear you asking, Brother Carlos, what made you think of me now in that deep Italian voice of yours? That part is easy. I recently came across your original manuscript. Do you remember that? The speech we were each required to present at St. Michael's Church in 1983? It still bears your editing marks. You know what? Thank you for entrusting me with that manuscript. It has really been an honor to preserve it all these years. Now, as I reread it, one paragraph on page 2 struck me deeply. The one that you circled, where you spoke of children who grew into adulthood and took their lives because no one walked with them. Was that you, Alex? Were you one of those children who became an adult carrying a silent burden? In those months before you left the seminary, brother, did I miss the signs? Was I not present enough? Was there a need that I overlooked? Did my actions or my absence thereof play any role in your decision 3 days after leaving the seminary? I remember the sadness in your eyes when you questioned your mother's suffering as she battled cancer and the starving children in Africa. I did not know how to respond except to pray with love for my brother who was hurting in a way I could not touch. Much like the people I care for today. They hurt in ways I cannot reach. I cannot touch it. But all I can do is pray with love and be as present as possible. The truth is, Alex, I have been too hard on myself all these years. Only recently have I realized that being hard on myself meant I was not trusting the Lord or His mercy. That is where the joy or joyfully comes in because that is no longer the case. Praise God. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still trying. Let me close here so I can close my eyes and imagine how you might respond to this letter. I love you, brother. Until we meet again. Carlos.
My dear brother Carlos, I have read your letter. Every word, every ache, every hope. Time does not exist for me the way it does for you, but love does, and I felt yours as clearly as the day we first called each other brother in the seminary halls. 42 years feels long to you, but from where I stand, it is only a breath. You wonder how life might have unfolded had things been different. I understand that longing. But brother, do not let the weight of what if overshadow the grace of what is. God has woven both of our stories into His own, even the parts that broke your heart. You say you have not written to me in many years. That is all right. I have never been far. You became my brother in the seminary, and I have never thought of you as anything less. You imagine your final breath, your moment before the Lord. You speak of reverence, of fear of the Lord. Carlos, you need not fear the one who loves you more than you have ever loved anyone. When your time comes, you will not stand before a stranger. You will stand before the one who has carried you through every season, even the ones you thought you walked alone. And yes, I know you still joke about being dumb as a rock and twice on Sunday. I laughed when I read that. Some things never change. I see your life in Oklahoma, 24 years of unexpected blessings, friendships, and the quiet ways God has shaped you. You longed for New Jersey, for the seminary, for the life you once imagined. But God planted you where He needed you, not where you expected to be. And you have bloomed there. even when you didn't notice. I rejoiced when you returned to the Lord in 2017. You say you're not sure you're doing life right. Brother, no one does life right, but you are doing it with Christ now. And that is everything. I see your confessor and spiritual director. I see the humility with which you let yourself be guided. That humility is a grace. I see your caregiving, the long days, the quiet sacrifices, the moments when you feel unseen. You say it complicates your life. I say it sanctifies it. Every act of care, every moment of patience, every time you choose love over frustration, these are the steps of sainthood, even if you feel like sainthood is always 4 steps ahead. You wonder if you failed me, if you missed signs, if your absence played a role in my decision. Carlos, no, you did not fail me. You did not cause my pain. You did not push me toward the choice I made. My struggle was deeper than you could have known, and you loved me the best way you knew how. I remember your prayers. I remember your presence. I remember the way you looked at me with compassion when I questioned suffering. My mother's, the world's my own. You could not touch my hurt, but you held my heart. That mattered more than you realize. You found my manuscript. You read the paragraph I circled. You wondered if I was speaking about myself. In some ways, yes. In others, no. I was speaking about all of us who carry burdens quietly, but brother, you were not responsible for my silence. You were not responsible for my pain, and you were not responsible for my choice. You have been hard on yourself for too long. I am grateful you are learning to trust the Lord's mercy. Truly, trust it. That is the freedom I always wanted for you. I am proud of you, Carlos. Proud of your faith. Proud of your perseverance. Proud of your heart that refuses to stop loving. And yes, I would have asked, Brother Carlos, what made you think of me now? Your answer would have made me smile. I am with you more than you know, not in sorrow, but in peace. Until the day we meet again, in the place where no wounds remain, where no questions linger, and where love is finally complete, know this. I love you, brother. I always have. I always will.
That wraps it up for today, Coffee Breakers. As you head back into your day, remember this. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your body, and all your soul. And second, don't just be a good neighbor, be a great neighbor. Why? Because great is always better than good. Credit to Father Mike Schmitz for that gem. Next Sunday marks the first Sunday of Lent, so whether you're already in the pews or thinking about coming back, I hope you will join us in preparing for this beautiful and powerful season. Until next time, take care of your soul, take care of each other, and may God bless you always.